Welcome back to episode 2 of the Ways to Wellness podcast. I am your host, Francesca Scerbo, and I am here with co-host Jeffrey Delaney, and we are here to talk about inflammation. Inflammation, right? So many people right now are coming to me talking about bloat, discomfort, achiness in their joints and their bodies, which they didn't have before. And obviously all of that is what we're talking about today, is from inflammation. And inflammation is something that's kind of silent. Not a lot of people really know that they have inflammation, but it is becoming a tag word now in the health industry. And I think it's going to be important today for us to give people the tools to learn about kind of what it is, and if they have it, how they can treat it.
Yeah, and I think you hit a really good point. You know, a lot of times when it comes to nutrition with inflammation, a lot of people don't know what they don't know. You know, they've ate bad for so long. They've had a lot of the processed refined crap, and it's like, I don't have a gut problem, I'm fine. But they have other symptoms. You know, it's one of those things where it's like you don't know what you don't know until sometimes you eliminate it. And then when you add it back in, most people, especially with like wheat, dairy, gluten, they'll usually be like, oh, holy cow, I just got punched in the gut. Absolutely. And really, inflammation from, I'm a gut girl. I am super into my gut health, suffering. You should tag that. It should be like the gut girl.
Yeah, that Francesca, big shirt, gut girl. But I had suffered from a lot of gut issues myself. I had acute GERD. I had IBS. And I was so uncomfortable in just finding out what I was supposed to eat and what I wasn't supposed to eat, which is why I kind of really dove into the gut health stuff. And I was able to really heal it myself with food and certain supplements, and a lot of that we'll talk about today. And really, there's so many different types of inflammation. There's chronic inflammation, there's acute inflammation. And when people come to me and they're like, why do I have this distended midsection? A lot of that is there's something going on in the gut. And I always say first, tell me what your nutrition's like, because to what you just said, if you are eating ultra processed foods and you're eating foods that are not, clean, and I'll use the word real food, right, then what that is doing is that's going right into the gut, and it's creating all kinds of gut dysbiosis. It can cause leaky gut. It can cause what I had, IBS. It can start as GERD, which is, the esophagus just isn't digesting properly. And then that leads to a lot of bloat. That's that I can't button my pants type of situation. I'm feeling like my stomach is growing. So that's a big one. Well, and I think too, over time, that it's having that constant inflammation. It's not just, digesting food. It's like inflammation feeds cellular dysfunction. Cellular dysfunction feeds a lot of the disease processes, cardiovascular disease. I mean, diabetes, the list goes on. And I'll tell you, for so many years, I've always ate good and I love nutrition, but I never really focused on the gut. It's funny, as I've gotten older and more wiser, I guess, and being in the space, it's like you reprioritize the things that probably are going to give you a bigger ROI. And I wish I would have probably at a younger age prioritize the gut much better. Because like I said, it kind of, everything starts in our gut. It's our second brain. Yep. It's like, if you get your gut right, everything else kind of falls in line. Yeah, for sure. Gut to brain connection, I talk about it all the time. Like you said, the gut is a second brain. It's also where the immune system starts, right? So when I see a lot of clients coming in and they're kind of ill a lot, I'll always defer to what the nutrition plan is. I know for myself, I had, as a young teenager, I didn't even know I had a gluten allergy. And I was eating gluten all the time. I'm Italian. How do you not? It's like, you have a bowl of pasta, you have some bread before dinner. And I was horribly uncomfortable. And it did affect a little bit of, my digestive system. It affects your bowels. It affects your energy. And I really, as I got older and took some blood work and found out that this is exactly what was going on with me, and it still goes on, I decided to really, and then the other stuff happens, the gut stuff, I really wanted to dive into the gut work. And I really tried to keep ultra processed foods out. I try to keep certain foods in that are, high fiber, vegetables and fruits and things like that, lean proteins that are easy to digest, and fermented foods. And we'll talk about that too, for sure. I'm a big fan of fermented foods. It's not, a lot of people don't even know what it is, but it's really important.
become to somewhat like it now. And we'll talk about, I guess, that as we go. You know, it's kind of one of those things where if you've never done it, just getting used to certain things. I do like sauerkraut. And
I'm a
so
big pickle. I love
yeah.
pickles. I love all that. But I think one of the things we could talk about is to give to the audience is what causes inflammation? Like if someone, that's what everybody says. Well, why do I have this? We already hit the gut, right? A second one would definitely be, the nutrition, which we talked about. And I think another one, which is huge, especially in society right now, is stress.
Yep. Stress, that's something that compiles over time. And I think stress, you can kind of put it with stress, sleep, or lack thereof, just causes, CRP to go up. And then, over time, just that chronic stressful state that your body's in, once again, that's one avenue that's going to create inflammation in the body. Just like you said, I kind of want to go back real quick on, you were talking about like nutrition and it's hard in the world we live right now because, big manufacturer has to produce food so much faster. And, they add all kinds of other, crap ingredients and things in there. And, some people will say, oh, they're out to kill us. Like, I mean, they're out to make money.
Of course they are.
So,
of course they are.
I think there might be like some people, there's some truth to maybe just in general, they're out to not help people be healthy, I guess, when you want to look between some of the connection between big pharma and some of the food manufacturers. But I try not to go that, like, you still can make your own choices. You could still try to, eat better quality food. But I think a lot of people, it's just hard because there's so many things that have so much crap and it's like this like quiet buildup over time. So, you do definitely have to put a conscious effort into the nutrition side of it to really start kind of pulling it back and making some adjustments.
So when it comes to inflammation in gut, from a nutrition standpoint, as a nutrition coach, I always want, when you're reading the labels, we have to make sure that we know that there's some things you really want to look for. And you're 100% right. We're mass producing the stuff that makes you feel good. Pastas, breads, all of those, all of the gluten stuff. We're also doing a lot of stuff with our dairy. Like our dairy farmers aren't doing as they maybe should be. So certain dairy products are causing people to have massive inflammation. I know I can't do certain dairy myself. And then we got the sugars, right? Yeah. So the processed sugars, and then the sugars that are coming from, and again, this goes back to reading the labels. If something on a label says natural, it's not natural. The only thing that's natural is if you actually see the product in front of you.
Right.
If it's an apple, it's natural. If it's a bunch of like fruit snacks in a box, it's not natural. So I think that what's happened too is we're trying to find quick and convenient, which is why we're mass producing, but we're not finding quality.
Right.
So that quality that we need to look for is making sure that we're reading our ingredients, that we're eating more whole foods, and that, again, I think education is a big part of this. I think that knowing what those triggers are that's going to lead to the gut discomfort and the inflammation is really, I think, where it's at, especially for my clients. I mean, I try to eliminate those things, gluten, dairy, artificial sweeteners, right off the bat.
Well, and I'll tell you just from, being in a medical side, almost everybody in the world, if I tested them, for an all-cat test, which is a food sensitivity test, and a lot of times you have sensitivities and you have allergies. Allergies is something like if you were to consume something and you see immediate reaction, you see it happen right then and there. Yeah. Where sensitivities are you eat the wheat, the dairy, the pasta, the gluten, and you don't notice nothing right away, but over time, like you're like, I'm bloated, my skin's bad, I feel inflamed.
Yep.
So that, food sensitivities, it's almost everybody. And, I've tested a lot of people for like all cat testing, and almost everybody, wheat, dairy, and gluten, we're not really meant to have it or process it or break it down. And then obviously with the ultra processed stuff just for speed these days, that's a very common one. And that's honestly, before you go spending a lot of money on an all cat test, it's like, start with what you just said.
Absolutely.
Wheat, dairy, gluten, processed sugars. That's gonna do pretty good for you, from the start and pretty quick.
And you'll know, because if you keep a food log, which I always tell people to do, if you really want to understand your nutrition, keep a food log. And if you see that primarily most of your foods are coming from one of those three sources, then we need to start eliminating a little bit of that.
So I think you said on the last episode too, you're talking about when you're looking at the food label list, because we did Nutrition 101, is also making sure that list is short. The shorter the list, the better chance you have to not have a lot of the crap that's in there.
Absolutely. And, that goes back to label reading. We need to teach that more than not.
In school.
Absolutely in school.
I don't know. I think we did like basic stuff. I'm trying to remember. I felt like in middle school, I think there was a class, but I know for sure not now. My son's in high school and, they don't really cover any of that.
No, I think we just had food pyramid, which is like totally antiquated at this point right now. Eat more carbs and eat less fruits and vegetables.
What's in surplus?
It's exactly right. It's exactly right. So I think that it's definitely, diet and nutrition is, I hate to use the word diet, but lifestyle change and nutrition is really what's going to lead to ultimately people like understanding like how to reduce that inflammation and resetting their gut.
Yeah. And I think too, another big one that you should look at is, a lot of people, when you get sick, what do most people do? They go to the doctor, they get an antibiotic. And obviously that's going to wipe out the good flora and the bad. It wipes everything out of the gut. And then unfortunately our the not so good of the gut typically grows a lot faster. And so you have a lot of people in the world we live today, from even the antibiotics in the food and the meats and, you're just slowly crushing the gut microbiome.
Yeah.
And so, you have a lot of people that have a lot of problems from either one, taking too many antibiotics and not really being on a good, pre and pro. I know we're going to talk about some of the supplements you could do to help out. Or like I said, what's in the food, if you're buying, do you get antibiotic free meats, so. Yeah.
I mean, we're an over antibiotic society right now. The people that I see and what I'm noticing too, and no one, when they do the antibiotics, they're not, to what you just said, they're not talking about how to reset that. But if you're on a chronic, like if you're on that a lot, it's going to take a long time for your gut to reset, and the immune system is going to be shot because the lining of your gut is going to start to break down, which is going to allow for more infection, right? Leaky gut is nobody knows they have leaky gut until they start to kind of experience some of these things. And I think, and like we'll talk about more, it's really important to know about the probiotics. And if a lot of people are a little bit uncomfortable with probiotics, there's a lot of probiotics in food, and it's not just yogurts. There's a lot, like we talked about the fermented stuff. So you can just start by, integrating some sort of a fermented food into your diet for probiotics as preventative.
Yep.
And then, obviously once we do, or hopefully we won't need a significant amount of antibiotics, then I usually will tell my clients, make sure you go on, just start with a basic probiotic, because some of them are so strong and you don't need that much. I think obviously as society, we always say like more is better, but I'd rather have better quality and a better, product that's going to help what's going on than try to get the most strains and the most, if it has like 5 billion active cultures. No, we don't need that many cultures.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of them probably don't survive the gut initially. No. That's always say too, the quality of your pre and probiotic. That's awesome information. Like if you're not taking a probiotic and you plan to take a probiotic, like start light. And they do make, like some of the companies actually have, a smaller amount to start with, and you kind of just amp it up, because some people do get digestional discomfort, diarrhea when they first start. So that's really good information. There is one that I highly recommend. I think you take it.
Yeah, I take
right?
Seed.
Yeah, Seed. Not to put a plug to them. I have nothing to do with them. I just look, I look at what's out there that kind of produce the best results for the clients. They have actually a patent on it. So just if you're looking for a really good quality one, or just make sure it's coming from a reputable manufacturer. That's the other thing in the world we live. You have everyone mass producing supplements. They're not third party tested. You're buying like on Amazon. There's tons of fake counterfeit products. So sometimes you might save a couple of bucks, but you're not getting what you should be getting. So
and sometimes the most expensive is not the best, to your point. So absolutely.
Like Seed, I think it's like cheaper than some of the other ones I've seen. It's like $49 a month.
And I'm on like a subscription or something like that. It's
like 42, I think.
I think so. And the other thing is, I always tell people, don't take the original, like if it says 2, start with 1.
Yep.
So baby step your dosage for sure.
So we kind of already hit it, like your top main, just so we could kind of wrap this portion up, your main foods that cause inflammation. I already know you said obviously refined carbohydrates and sugars.
Ultra processed.
I think you mentioned seed oils.
Yeah.
That's definitely one that's been proven to cause some low grade inflammation over time.
Alcohol.
Obviously
That's a hard one.
moderation. Yes, that definitely tends to not keep the environment good. I think we said processed meats, especially if they're not like antibiotic free. And then
I would say soda.
Yep.
I would say soda and certain energy drinks.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of.
She said energy drinks.
I know. I'm sorry. I did. But there's certain energy drinks that are really like they've got a lot of fake sugar in it that will just cause a lot of bloating. And it's going to be like the opposite of why we're trying to get our energy.
So we're talking. We talked about the foods not to wheat, dairy, gluten, and then obviously processed sugar. I would say kind of wheat, dairy, gluten, processed sugar is at the top. That's like your first immediate. But foods to actually include.
Okay, so mine are definitely going to be, and we said it before, fermented foods.
Yep.
So my go-to, and I love putting fermented food in a salad because you kind of like can mask it a little bit, but I love pickles. I love, they do like pickled beets or fermented beets.
Do you like kimchi?
I do. But there's certain kinds.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge sauerkraut, but I like it. So I'll do that. I also love to do high quality fish oils.
Yep.
So high quality fish oils help with inflammation. I like to do, obviously any type of like greens, like anything that's more water soluble. So any one of the vegetables itself are just phenomenal. And then obviously you want to have some berries, some good quality fruits and antioxidants. Am I missing anything? No, those are going to be my basic.
Your fiber, fermented foods, which you do. You said healthy oils.
Olive oil. I'll use avocado oil. If I'm cooking something high heat, I'll use a little coconut oil. But I make sure that all of that is a staple in my diet every single day, all the time, in anything and everything I eat. And I put that in the plans that I use too.
No, I think that's great information for sure. So omegas, obviously try to get them from fish. If you can.
Yes.
Which a lot of us don't do, or some people just don't eat fish. So then get a good quality, omega, EPA, DHA. Which one do you use?
I'm actually using right now Design for Health. They have a omega available.
Good, great company.
Yep. I keep it in the refrigerator because it allows it to be less fishy.
Well, so I always say that's like keep in the fridge, or sometimes freezer's a little too much, but you don't get if you're prone to the fish burps.
Yes.
It allows it to make it down a little bit further. So definitely keep it in the fridge. I actually use Nordic Naturals. I've kind of like tried a couple different ones. You don't get that.
Right. Well, you want to make sure you look at what fishes, where the sources are coming from. So I think I don't remember off the top of my head where mine have it, but the Nordic Naturals is my second choice for sure, because they're good quality fish that they use in their oil. So I really do like that too. So good one.
Awesome. As far as, dietary patterns, I think, what should people try to do or not do when it comes to, what they're doing with their diet structure or where to include certain things?
I think this is a really good, if I have somebody that has
style, I guess would be easier, like style of dieting that kind of fits anti-inflammatory.
I'm going full-fledged. I do modified Mediterranean.
Yep.
That is something I personally use. It's something I use with a lot of, and I vary it very differently. But I mean, think about how Mediterranean and the whole blue zone thing, right? So we have sections of the world right now where people are obviously living longer because there's less processed foods. There's more good sourced quality foods. There's healthy oil. We're eating from the earth. We're doing all of that. And I mean, look at what we see in the Mediterranean diet. Healthy, it's everything. Healthy fats, moderate amounts of alcohol, certain types of refined carbs. So that's probably going to be the one I would go to first.
I concur.
Yes. Concur.
Yeah. No, I concur. No, great information. If you could kind of make the base or, a good portion, if you could build a diet from that, you're going to be pretty good to go.
And it's good because you can balance it. It's not all meat based. You can use fish, you can use eggs, you can use plant sources of protein that are just as helpful. And it really does take out all the processed.
Cool. So we talked about diet, like probably what we consider the best type of diet or something to kind of model after. Foods to include, foods to take away. Let's talk supplements. As far as, supplements should be supplements. They're to supplement what you're not getting from the food.
I preach that all the time.
So, what are things to obviously add? And I think we already talked about the omega. Like if you're not eating a lot of fish or healthy fish, a good quality omega supplement.
So we talked about omega, we talked about probiotic,
Yep.
right? So another one that I do talk about is turmeric or curcumin, but we want to make sure that it has the black pepper extracts for those people that are unsure, because I have had clients that have gone and purchased it and it's just fake. So make sure you get, again, back to our good quality. Vitamin D is another one. Let's see, magnesium is another one for inflammation. And then I like to go into certain spices. Like I like to use ginger. I like to use cumin with certain things. Obviously the Italian Holy Grail, basil, parsley, oregano, like those things actually do help as well. Another one I like to drink, which is something not a lot of people think about, is dandelion root tea.
Okay.
That is a great way to reduce any kind of inflammation in your stomach. When I was going through my journey with all of that, I went on that and like fennel.
Yep.
I even eat fennel. I know that's a big Italian thing, but I love fennel. So there's a lot of good stuff you can eat for that. That's also a supplement, or a spice as well.
You kind of hit everything. And then just high amounts, which is good. High amounts of something that has a good antioxidant. Antioxidant is going to help remove oxidative stress, which we kind of already touched on it. Your berries, your fruits, your leafy greens, your cruciferous vegetables. There are supplements out there, that depending on alpha lipoic acid is great. Some people will argue resveratrol. I personally take glutathion, which is
me too. You got me on
master-
that. FYI, you got me on that once a week.
And then if I always kind of say like the mother of antioxidant or the master of antioxidants is glutathion.
Yep.
It does a great job of removing the free radicals that we have, that some of that stuff you can't control out of the system. A supplement version would be N-acetylcysteine, which is kind of precursor to it, helps the body produce more glutathione.
Yep.
So those are like, if you had to pick a antioxidant, those are definitely probably the better ones, but there's a ton of other products you could use. There's actually a supplement. I switched over to it. I've had it at the clinic for a long time, but Intramax, it has a high ORAC score, high antioxidant ratio. It's more of a liquid multi because some people don't like to take pills.
Yeah.
So I usually put that in my gut drink every night.
Okay, so that's powder.
Yeah, it's actually a liquid. It's like a peach mango flavor. It's pretty good. I'll have to get you some to try it out.
Yeah, that's good to know, because some people just can't do capsules. My mom's one of them. She cannot do capsules. So, and then, a lot of, so do you think glutathion's better in capsule form, or should we try
well, so if I was going to do, like liposomal, so let's kind of talk, like if I had to pick glutathione injections for sure, because you're filling the gap. But outside of that, you're going to get your own stuff. A liposomal glutathione.
Okay.
I think, what is it? Quicksilver makes a really good brand, really good glutathione liposomal. It's just a lot of glutathione actually in oral form does not really work that well. That's why you'd almost want to take your N-acetylcysteine to just help your system make it. It's funny, during COVID, those were two, glutathione and N-acetylcysteine were kind of like on the remove list, like not supposed to produce list. Why? Because
they helped your immune system.
Yeah, and get rid of the free radicals.
Got rid of free radicals and oxidative stress.
Yeah. So it's crazy.
Oh gosh.
So I don't want to go down that route.
Well, then that'll tie into like, this is obviously your world and I'm in it as well, because you've obviously helped me start this whole using certain peptides for keeping my oxidative stress down, keeping my health numbers high, keeping my inflammation low, my longevity path, keeping all of those bad cells out of my body. So what are some peptides that we could talk about?
If I had to pick one peptide just in general, it would be BPC 157 oral. It's a gastric pentadecapeptide. We have obviously it in our system, but as we get older, just like most things, it kind of diminishes. So that, it does an amazing job of just keeping the gut good, fixing leaky gut, decreasing inflammation in the gut, which typically will pull inflammation down systemically. Next to that in line, which oral form, it comes in an injectable form. I like this one more post-injury, but thymosin beta, TB4 or TB500. KPV's actually shown a lot of difference when it comes to gut and digestion. Not really commonly, or it's not like easy to get, but KPV is one that actually could help. They kind of help, like BBC, thymosin beta, KPV. Those are more healing peptides. So some are, you could actually take them orally, but inject. But we're talking about more the oral BPC. My wife takes it. My kid takes it. Actually, my dog towards the tail end, he had a mass in his stomach, and I started putting it in his water.
Oh, wow.
And it was a combination of that for his gut, but also his joints. And I feel like he went back like 5 years, like physically, as far as the osteoarthritis, because he was 16 and a half. He was old.
Gosh, wow.
He was an old man.
Wow.
And made such a difference there, just to kind of slow things down a little bit.
Well, I personally am using that for gut regeneration, but I think something that would be really good to talk about super quick is, I think a lot of people don't understand what a peptide is.
Yep.
And I get that a lot because I'm very transparent with what I do and what I take, because I obviously you can only practice what you do. And I think one of the things that people think of with peptides is that it's stuff that's like fake, but our bodies are naturally making peptides. So I would veer towards the side of that before I ever go towards the side of prescription medication. And, I've been on the peptide journey now for the last 3 months, and I've felt incredible. I've done my research before I started, obviously, but I think that just to kind of give the audience a little bit of a background of that, to not fear it. That's why they come to you for that stuff. They'll come to me to pair the food with that. But
I will put my disclaimer on part of that. So peptides are basically sequences or chains of amino acids or proteins that basically initiate things that happen in your body. There's now let me kind of say there's 7,000 peptides. There's, some that really give you a good return on investment. And there's some that just, you might not see anything from it. And buyer beware. I always like to put that out there, is be careful where you're getting peptides. And I'm not saying get them from me or get them from my clinics. Just if you're putting something in your body, not so much with the oral peptides, but for more like if you go down the route of an injectable peptide, there's places online that just are research only, and, you don't know how they're making it. Like if I'm going to inject something in my body, I want to know it is what it is. And it's not going to,
100%.
but peptides are probably one of the safest things you could do. I do like seeing how more mainstream things have come with that, but it's, there's still kind of some pushback with it because, I just feel like if people are keeping themselves healthy, it definitely will take some money out of.
There's no money. Big Pharma loses. Big Pharma.
Yeah, but I think Florida's getting a little more. Luckily, we kind of run to the beat of our own drum. So I think things will get a little more loose. But just definitely make sure you peptides are safe. Make sure where you're getting them from are safe.
Good.
The application is going to be precise, so you're not just taking whatever you read online or. Because I feel like a lot of people oversell and underdeliver with a lot of stuff out there. I probably tried majority of the peptides that do make a difference, and I could tell you, some are amazing. Like I use thymosin alpha-1, which is a peptide to increase my body's T helper cell response. So, because I do have Lyme, so I've been able to manage it with that versus having to take tons of antibiotics and create a bigger problem.
Absolutely.
So, but do your research or speak with somebody who knows. But like I said, going back to probably one of the best in my book, if I had to only pick one, you could only give me one, would be BPC 157.
Yeah, I agree with that one for sure. And I've been using it now, and I really love it. So do my parents. My parents love it too. Awesome.
What about, kind of lifestyle stuff that we could do, to kind of just help, take back some of the inflammation we create?
So obviously mine are going to end up being sleep.
Yep.
Because if we're not sleeping and getting good quality sleep, it's just going to lead to more inflammation. I think another one for me is going to be exercise, clearly. But again, not over exercising, but getting good exercise, making sure we're moving our body, we're increasing our sweat rate, increasing our heart rate. Obviously, if we increase the heart rate, the sweat rate will go up, making sure we're doing a combination of strength, resistance, and a little bit of cardio. My personal favorite is going to be doing some, I would call it like non-movement stuff, like infrared sauna. I was in my infrared sauna yesterday. did about 35 to 40 minutes, really got the sweat going, and we're seeing them more and more now. There's all these different facilities popping up. But when we are sweating and we're excreting toxins from our body and we're slightly elevating the heart rate, that actually helps with the inflammation as well. I'm telling you, when I do the inflammation, when I do the infrared sauna, I come out of there so relaxed and I sleep like a baby.
Yeah.
I really do. One thing I have personally been doing is I've been doing a little bit of lymphatic work. So I get a little bit of a lymphatic drainage, like about maybe once or twice a month. And I find that for me, that helps. And if I don't do that, I'll do like deep tissue type massage to like really work out the muscle tissue. I just find that kind of stuff helps me.
That's great information for someone if you're just starting your journey or you're just starting to get healthier, eat better, physically active, you know, whether you get it just a regular massage, obviously lymphatics a little bit different. Or you could find someone that's truly trained in like lymphatic massage. It's a great way because like how do you expect to move and excrete?
Absolutely.
You know, so you're just supporting that process, which is great.
Yeah. I do something called endermology. And I found, because I'm on my feet all day with work, so I find that that's been a game changer for me. But yeah, that's a good way to definitely start.
You hit every one.
I did. Oh, see, I'm like nailing this today.
Yes, good. That was awesome.
Clearly, I know my gut and my inflammation. That's awesome.
Well,
all right. I think we got everything for everybody.
Yeah,
Are we good?
I think we're good. If you guys have questions, you know, don't feel free to comment. And you know, as far as like if there's something that you're unsure of, you know, we'll try to explain as much as we can. And you know, the other thing I think is just for future episodes, you know, if there's something that, you know, you guys think would be a great episode, we're open to suggestions. We kind of have an idea of what we want to do, but you know, the goal is to give you guys the best information, real information that you could actually take, apply, and hopefully improve your life.
Absolutely. So I think, so the 3 takeaways from today is I would say, you know, definitely watch our inflammatory foods, get movement in. And I would say probably the biggest one is maybe going to be get some good quality sleep.
A lot. That's like your food, your sleep, physically active.
That's it.
Like those are the biggest things that will change the quality of your life.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to definitely be talking about probably some more of these and dissecting it down some more. But we are so glad that you were able to join us for episode 2. We hope that our talk on inflammation and gut health really kind of answered some of your questions. And like Jeff said earlier, if you have anything that you want to talk about or you have any questions in regards to this episode, feel free to reach out. Obviously, we did Nutrition 101 was episode 1, so check that out as well. And we look forward to seeing you for episode 3 really soon. Bye.